I have a little different tactic when I speak with people. I like to have fun, but I like to make an impact too. I believe that the thrill of victory is worth the agony of defeat. Yet, try saying that to a stunt woman when her boss comes up to her and says, "So, Dana, okay, you were here on the set of Bella Mafia. You're going to be doubling Nastasha Kinski. And as soon as you're dressed, I want you to come to set, and I want you to walk down this paved road right here. I want you to stand over there right in the middle of the road, right next to that fence. Okay, and our good friend Kurt here, our buddy, is going to be driving this big Cadillac towards you. And when he gets close, what I want you to do is I want you to pretend you're walking across that road, you know, and maybe pretend in the middle of the road you drop something, and you reach down and pick it up, but your back is to the car. Now, I want you to time this just right, so that right as Kurt is right here, you need to turn around and go, "Oh!" and let the car hit you. And then what I want you to do, as the bumper hits you, I want you to turn and land on your shoulder on the hood of the car. At this point in time, Kurt's going to speed the car up, and you're going to be whipped off and over the top of the car. I expect that you're going to land over there by that willow. Oh, and here's your wardrobe. A sundress and strap sandals? Okay, so obviously that stunt woman was me in my second year of doing stunts in Hollywood. And I was thinking to myself, car hit? Sundress? Strap sandals? Oh, Lord. And I knew I had two choices. Two choices. Do I rise to the challenge and reach for victory, regardless of the possibility of defeat? Or do I listen to my fears and turn and walk away? As leaders, and everyone here in this room is a leader, I know for a fact you all have encountered amazing challenges in life. And I bet some of you right now are encountering major challenges in your life, and you're asking yourself, what do I do? So right now, really quickly, I'd like to share with you just a couple of stories about training for the games. And the most important thing that I learned is this: nothing will ever change without movement. It took me 25 years to learn that, because at the age of 3, I was abandoned, myself and my 2 brothers. We were placed in an orphanage. From there, we spent 9 years. We ended up after that with suicidal, alcoholic, and abusive family members. At the age of 14, I was on the streets, then in halfway houses, a government shelter, finally a foster home at the age of 16. Well, never trusting the illusions of love and safety, I left that home and tried to make it on my own. It didn't work out so well, and we're short of time, so I'm going to skip forward here and just jump to the part where I made the monumental decision at the age of 25 to go for that dream that I had had for so many years, to win an Olympic gold medal. And that's when I learned about this theory of movement. Nothing will ever change without movement. So I gathered up what little courage that I could find, and I took one step with courage. And I took that step and figured out where I was, way down there, versus where I wanted to be, Then I took another step and I started setting goals and making a game plan. And I swore to myself that this time, instead of running away from every chance, challenge, or dream, I would take this dream and make it come true. And if I failed, for once in my life, I would know I was not a failure. There's so many stories. Another important lesson that I learned was in training for the Olympics. When I first started training and competing, I quickly discovered that although I had the strength and the speed, I didn't have the stamina. I discovered back in high school that if I did running and long distance training, that my heart would start palpitating, like going 20,000 miles an hour. I forget the name of it. I'm sure you guys know. Taco something, Mayo. It's a really long one though. It's not just taco. Yeah, but anyway. So, okay. Well, anyway, my heart would start racing. It would shut off. It would create an asthmatic reaction. My lungs would shut off, and I would come wheezing to a stop, freaking out, panicking like I'm going to die. So, of course, I avoided long-distance running. I quickly discovered that no matter how hard I trained, I didn't have the stamina. I didn't have the endurance. And what good was it that I could win in the first and second round and then lose in the third because I didn't have the energy. So I went to train upstate New York with a famous coach in Binghamton, New York, Dr. Cheng Shik Choi. And his athletes had this amazing stamina. They had the indomitable spirit that I definitely didn't have. Well, in one of our first training sessions there, we did this drill. It's a kicking drill. It's Taekwondo. And we had a line of people lined up, two columns of people lined up facing each other. One column would hold a target, kicking pad, and the other line, we would kick as fast and as hard as we could for a certain period of time to develop our stamina. Well, as we were doing this drill and I began tiring and slowing down, I noticed the coach looking at me. So after a while, he came over and he took that pad from my partner and he held it for me. And here we go, and I'm going as hard as I can, but I'm just dying. I'm dying. I can't do this. I can't. So he finally stops. And he's actually yelling at me to keep going. As I'm like going, I can't breathe, I'm doing this. He's yelling at me. About the third time he did that, I just snapped. And I yelled back, I'm trying! He stopped. He lowered that pad. He looked me straight in the eye and he said, try? Not good enough! Everyone try! Not everyone, jump in! Don't try, just do! And he raised the pad to continue with the drill. This is monumental. Try is not good enough. Try contains the negativity of doubt. Doubt will get you nowhere. Do has the power to give you the determination to go forward and succeed despite anything. Another lesson I learned from that same coach is something I call the graveyard run. Well, in the program of training, long distance running was one of the circumstances. We had a 5-mile run, and one of the most difficult runs was this one up and through a cemetery. And there was this really steep hill in this cemetery, and on the previous 2 tries, I just couldn't do it. I'd get halfway up, the heart would go, the lungs would go, I would be wheezing, I can't do anything. So he would let me walk up the hill. On the 3rd attempt, I approached this hill and I was determined to do this. I know it, I can do it. And I get halfway up that hill and all of a sudden, dagnabbit, the heart goes again. The lungs shut off. And I'm like leaning over, desperately trying to get air into my lungs. And my coach comes up behind me, I think to reassure me. He places his hand on the small of my back and starts pushing me unceremoniously up that hill. I could not believe this. Hello, I'm about to die, pass out, get violently sick. What are you thinking? And I was so mad that I was struggling to get away from the hand on my back. But he kept pace with me, and he kept his hand on my back to let me know he was not gonna let me stop. I was fuming with indignation when I reached the top of the hill. And as my coach let me continue on my own down that hill, this thought sounded in my head like a trumpet from heaven. You idiot! You had your mind on all of these negative things. I can't do this. This is impossible. No, no, no. But I discovered that once I switched my mind off of all of that, I could do it. Now, the interesting thing is Jim Gitney and George and I were talking about this story last night, and Jim had an excellent point for everyone here in this room who are leaders. And that point is this. There are times as leaders that we need to know when to let go, like Myrtle mentioned, and when to put your hand on their back and keep pushing them up that hill to greater heights. Well, the rest is history, but I will never forget when they raised my hand. And I smiled to myself because I realized something important. I had finally, for the first time in my life, drawn a line in the sand, made a stand, and went for what I want. I finally learned to rise to the challenge. That is why I sincerely believe that the thrill of victory is worth the agony of defeat. You see, victory it's here and it's gone. But that feeling of pride and satisfaction, that lasts a lifetime. So I pray that as everyone here, you go back to your jobs, your families, your countries, and thank you all for coming. I pray that you will continue to rise to the challenge. And if anyone ever throws you a curveball, like a sundress and strap sandals, please look them straight in the eye and just smile and say, take the sandals, I want some tennis shoes if you want to get this job done right. Thank you, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. You guys take care.